Hi, this is Analytics, and welcome to another lesson. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or questions in the comments. Let's get started. For this lesson, we are going to use this file, Power Query Views. It's an Excel file. Let's open it in Excel. This is the table we are going to load in Power Query, and we are going to use it to explore the View tab in Power Query. You already know from previous lessons how to import it into Power Query. You will just click Data and then click From Table Range. Okay. Okay, and in this lesson, we are going to explore the View tab in Power Query and learn how these buttons can help you. And right off the bat, you can see that we have been working over our last lessons with these two panels on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, and you need them. But sometimes you need more space to have a better overview of your entire table. And yes, you can collapse or expand them whenever you need more space. But for this panel on the left-hand side, it's easier because you only need to click the little arrow. And in my opinion, it would come in handy if you had the same arrow on this panel on the right-hand side, just to collapse or expand it. It would be, in my opinion, easier to use the same pattern, but okay, you can just do it. If you want to collapse it, just close it off with clicking this little X, okay? And if you want it back, you just click the Query Settings button, and there you go. Or you can just click or unclick the same button, Query Settings button, and then the left-hand side pane will be showing or will just disappear. That's pretty simple. And the formula bar, if you want it showing or not, you just click check or uncheck the formula bar checkbox. Very easy. And Monospace is interesting. And this is more for readability. For example, let's take as an example rows 1 and 2. And in row 1, we have in the store column, these are random values, okay? These are random values just to support the examples I'm showing. And we have a set of 4 trailing I's, I. And in row 2, it's A. And you can see that we have 4 characters in each of the rows, but the A's take a lot more space than the I's because the A character, it's just wider than the I. And you can see that if you have many characters in the same row, if you had like 15 A's here and 15 I's here, so maybe it could harm the readability. And to improve that, you could just check the Monospace checkbox, and the Monospace feature will just make sure that every character will use the same amount of space, and that improves readability. And that is very useful for programmers so they can have better readability in their scripts. But in your Power Query project, maybe that won't make a lot of difference. So I just wanted to show you that it exists, and you will see in your experience if it makes any sense for you or not. And the show whitespace, that is very intuitive. You will just click to check if there are white spaces in your table. And using the store column, you can see that checking or unchecking this checkbox will make a difference because there are some rows with white spaces. And if you uncheck it, your white spaces won't be showing to you, but they are there. Just because you're not seeing them, it doesn't mean that the white spaces were removed. Okay, so they are there. You're only seeing them or not. In my opinion, it would be best to actually remove the white spaces, and we have learned how to do it over the last lessons, but let's do it anyway. I would just click the Transform tab, and in Format, I will select Trim, and now the white spaces have really been removed. Let's again click the View tab, and now checking or unchecking the show white space checkbox, it doesn't make any difference because now we actually no longer have those white spaces. Column quality is very interesting because it's going to give you an overview of the data before you even start working with it. And that's a valid way to have an idea of what's going on in each of your data columns. For example, in the sales ID column, it's saying that 100% of the values in this column are correct, are valid. I don't have any errors or any empty rows in this column. But then if you click the store, if you check the store columns, you will see that 84% of the data in this column is valid, but I don't have any errors, but 16% of the rows in this column are empty. And if I use a calculator just to make sure it is right, let me count the number of null values, which are actually empty values, as we studied in previous videos. All the rows in which you can see the null marker means that that row is actually blank. There's actually a total absence of data in that row. If you haven't watched this video, please refer back to our playlist, and there's a video specifically teaching about null values, white spaces, and blank strings. What is the difference between all of them, okay? And I have one null value, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 null values, and I'll divide it by the number of rows in this table, which is 37, multiplied by 100. And yes, we have 16% of the values of the rows in this column are empty. So this is good to know, especially when you have a column with many rows, like thousands or millions of rows. So this comes in really handy to get a good overview of the data in each column. For this units column, well, the data type hasn't been assigned yet, so I'm going to select that as whole numbers. And you will see that we have errors. And why do we get errors? Because we had numbers and text in the same column. So when I ask Power Query to mark it as numbers, as whole numbers, so Power Query won't be able to turn text into numbers, and then it will return me errors in each row where I used to have text. And the goal here is to understand the information that Power Query is giving me about this column. And it's saying that 32% of the rows in this column, they have errors. Let's do the same with the unit price column. Instead of text, let me try to change it to decimal numbers. And again, I have errors because I had some strings, ABC mixed with numbers. And for each row in which I had strings, I am getting an error because Power Query can turn text into numbers. And what I wanted to show you here is that in addition to the error sign in this column, Power Query is telling me that 32% of my values are returning errors, and in this column 10% of my rows are returning errors. And you can see that the little red bar on top of each column, it is as long as the percentage of errors in each column. For example, in this one, I have a longer red line than in this column because I have more errors, 32% instead of 10%. So the longer the red arrow, the more errors you have in that column. And because we have errors, because Power Query wasn't able to change the data type properly, then it's no longer capable of correctly calculating how many of these values are valid or not, because it doesn't really know if this column is supposed to be text or numbers. So it's kind of a confusion, and Power Query is no longer able to give me the number of valid values in these columns. So let's do some changes here just to make sure these columns are going to work properly. And I will click the Transform tab, and let's replace the errors for a certain number. Let me just pick 100. It's just to show you. I'm not actually worried about the content of the data, but about understanding the buttons and all the options from the View tab. And there you go. I'll do the same here. I will replace errors with number. In this case, I'm going to use 5,000. And there you go. Now I no longer have any errors in these two columns, and I have 100% of valid data. Now let's go back to the View tab, and the column distribution feature, that is very cool because it helps you have an overall idea when it comes to the frequency of the values in each column. For example, in the sales ID column, you can see that we have many values that occur only with the same frequency, and one of these values occurs with a higher frequency than the other ones, which means that, for example, in this column was supposed to be a column with sales ID, which was supposed to be unique, and you would be expecting that each value in this column as a unique value, as a sales ID, they was supposed to occur only once. But there is one of them that occurs more times, more than one time. And let's check which one is this. And look, you can see that each ID appears only once, but the 10, 11 appears four times. So this is why one of these bars is higher than the other ones. This means that this specific value appears in the column more times than all the others. And if you see that all the other values have the same size, its bars are the same size, it means that all of them occur only the same number of times. In the store column, you can see that there is one of the values in this column, and we have I, south, east, north, and we have no values too. And we can see that some of these classes, of these groups in this column appears more than the others. So these columns actually, what do they represent? They represent frequency. So the higher bars refer to certain values that appear more than the others in the column. So this higher bar, this refers to some of the values. I still don't know which value is this, but it refers to one of these values that have a higher count in the column than the other ones. And there's a way to check that out, and I'll show you in a bit. And again, in the units column, you can see that there is a single value that appears a lot more than the others. You can see that all the others are represented by small, very, very low bars, which means they all appear the same number of times, while this one appears a lot. And this is probably 100 because this is the value that we used to replace the errors. And you can see that 100 appears a lot of time because we replaced the errors with 100. So this higher bar probably represents the 100, and the same in each column. You can see that the promotion column, it shows you if the sale was performed in a promotion or not, and 0 means not, it wasn't sold in promotion, and 1 means yes, it means that that sale was performed during a promotion. And you can see that we only have 2 bars, and one of these bars, of course, we have only 2 values in this column. One of the bars represents 1, and the other bar represents 0, and the bar that is higher represents the number that has a higher count in this column, and we still don't know which one it is. And to know it, all we have to do is just click the column profile checkbox, and now it will give me more detail on any column that I select. In this case, we can actually see that the higher bar is represented by 10, 11, which is this ID that is repeated 4 times. And if we select, for example, the store column, we can see that the higher bar is the class that appears more times, and it's south. So it means south appears more than any other value. And north is the second one, then east, then the 4 I's and the 4 A's. Okay, and that's an awesome way to get a really good overview of the frequency of your data in each column of your table. And if I click the promotion column, I can see that actually we had only 2 bars, like I said, for 0s and 1. And now I can see that the higher column, it actually represents 0. And then I can know right off the bat that 0 is more frequent in this column than 1. And I will click, let me choose stores again, and it's going to give me the column count, which is the number of rows, how many rows you have in the table in a specific column, and the number of errors. In this case, I don't have any, and how many values are empty. In this case, I actually do have 6 no values, 6 empty values in this column, so it's correct. And distinct and unique, we're going to discuss what is the difference between distinct and unique values. I don't have any empty string in this column, but let's just to give you a better example, I'm going to change the original data. Let me close out, and I will keep the changes. I'm closing out of Power Query. And in the original table, which is this one, in the stores column, let me introduce a few blank strings. I'm gonna use the equal sign and then open and close quotation marks, and I will copy this down a few more times. There you go. And now I will go back to the query, just double click the query and refresh it all. Okay, now I am supposed to have some blank strings, and these are the rows in which I inserted the empty strings. And now let's go back to the View tab and Column Profiles. And now you can see that I have 5 empty strings. And like I said, we studied in a previous lesson about empty strings, white spaces, and null values. What are the differences between them, and how to identify and treat each of them. Please go back and watch that video. This is very important for your development looking forward. Okay, now the go-to column, we already know what this does from previous lessons, and we are not talking about parameters at this point. And the advanced editor will be discussed in the advanced course. Query dependencies, we will see query dependencies in one of the next videos. So I believe we're good with the View tab, but now let me explain in more detail the difference between distinct and unique values in a Power Query data column. Okay, suppose we have here a data column in Power Query, and we have names of people: Michael, Julia, Michael, Laura, Juan, Julia, Kate, Maria, and Daniel. And suppose this is a column in a data table in Power Query. Let's number these names. Now we can see that we have 10 values, which means this table is supposed to have 10 rows, but we can also see that these values are not all of them are unique. For example, Julia appears 3 times and Michael appears twice. So these are repeats. Let's remove all of the repetition. Let's remove these repeats and leave them only once. So now I'm going to return the table removing all the repeats, which means you have only 7 distinct values. We overall have 10 values, but 7 of them are distinct. And now let's take a quick look at what the original column looked like before I remove the repeats. And again, I have the 10 values, and you can see that if you don't count Michael and Julia, which are not unique values, which were repeated, but if you count only the values that since the beginning only appeared once, so you can count only Laura, Juan, Kate, Maria, and Daniel. So these are the values that since the very beginning never had repeats. So you can say that these 5 are the unique values, which means they were the names that never had any repeat in the table. So this is basically the difference between unique values and distinct values. And of course, this sum here, maybe this was not the best way to describe this as a sum, because 7 plus 5 doesn't equal 10, right? So maybe I shouldn't have used this equal sign here. I just wanted you to understand that among these 10 values, 7 of them are distinct, which means if you remove all the repeats, you will be left with 7 different names. And 5 of them were unique, which means since the beginning, they never had any repeats. So this is the distinction between unique and distinct in Power Query. And that was all I had for this lesson. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Share this content with your friends. Help us reach more people. See you in the next lesson.